Welcome to Sparkle UK. In this video we'll be discussing the PRO-W12DX, which is one of our handheld bug sweeping devices. It comes in this nice little pen case with a latch at the side. So inside you'll find the instructions and obviously the main unit. So that's the main unit there. It also comes with headphones, which we'll discuss in a minute, and obviously the charging cable and plug. The plugs include different country adapters as well. Even though it is a USB cable, I suggest using this cable and this plug because it does require a certain amount of amps to charge properly. And you also got these two different antennas that we'll be using. So first of all, we've got, this is like an omnidirectional antenna. It just means it'll pick up signals from all different directions. It does mean with this one you need to move closer and further to find out if what direction the bug is coming from, the signal's coming from rather. So if you stand in the middle of the room and you move one direction, it gets louder or more frequent, then the signal's going to be from this side. If you're moving away, it's going to get quieter, then it tells you that it's not on this side of the room. With this one, it's a directional antenna. That means that without you having to move forward or backwards, you can stand in the centre of the room and turn around, and it should hopefully tell you, just by standing on the spot, which direction the signal's coming from. There is an advantage to using this because it does actually pick up more. So this will pick up anything from 2 gigahertz and above, where this would just pick up anything from all ranges. Now most signals will be 2 gigahertz and above, like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and that kind of thing, but it's still worth using that to rule anything else out as well. So if we'll start off with this antenna. You can always put it on after you switch it on, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to leave the lens protector on, but obviously you can take it off. To turn the unit on, you can just press and hold. Give it a few seconds to start up, and straight away it's going to start picking up any signals in the room. Now this isn't the best place to do a demonstration because we're in the techno centre. We've got Wi-Fi all over the place. We've got loads of residents here all with mobile phones, etc. But still, hopefully, we'll be able to get the frequency down. So I've got my watch on flight mode. I'll do the same with my phone. Hopefully that will make a difference. So airplane mode's on. If it's still picking up signals, you can adjust the strength. So if you click on the sensitivity gauge here, you'll see this will be highlighted, and we can drop the strength down a little. So what that means is it's not picking up signals from as far away, because like here, it can be quite confusing when you're picking up stuff that isn't even in this room. We're kind of trying to narrow down what's in here and not what's going on next door or in the next street, for example. So you want to get it to the point where you know that everything is off. My watch is in flight mode, my phone's in flight mode. So I know if I stand in the middle of the room, I'm not picking up anything. And if I put it up by 1, number 3 is okay now. But if you put it on number 2, you just want it just on the edge, so it's not quite picking up anything at this point. So you know here, it's almost like calibrating the device. I know that in the centre of the room, it's just below the threshold for picking something up, so I know going forward and backwards within the room, if there's anything going on, I should pick it up. Before we start doing the demonstration, just go through some of the settings and what they do. So if you click on settings, you can turn the beep on or off. So you just press OK if you want it to work on silent mode, or you can press to keep the beep on. For this video, I'll keep it on. Same with the vibrate mode. So every time it's beeping, it also vibrates as well. The reason for this, obviously, if you've got no sound on, you might want to vibrate instead. And you've got the erase log, which just clears all the old entries, and setting the time and date. Now, I think the time that's right. Yeah, it's out by an hour. You recently had daylight saving, so just press OK. And then just go up and down to change. So around 1 o'clock. And that will obviously affect the log. So what I'll do, I'll erase all previous entries, just make it easier. So to erase log, press the graph, So that should erase everything, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so the main screen will just tell us the strongest signal it's picking up. So let's turn up the sensitivity again. So what it'll do, if it picks up a signal strong enough and long enough, it'll put down the frequency on the screen. If I turn my phone back off flight mode, there you go, it's a nice strong signal, and it's telling it to pick up 900 megahertz, which is the GSM, and 2.4, which will be Wi-Fi. So it only shows me the strongest signal in the room. So if I'm picking up something, for example, my Wi-Fi router, I could turn it off to rule that one out. I'm going to turn my flight mode back on again. So I'm going to turn the sensitivity back down just to stop being annoying for now. Okay, so yeah, basically you just use that to scan around the room. The closer you get in, the stronger the signal is, the further away you get in, the less it is. And the numbers on the screen tell you what type of frequency it's picking up. And it's quite easy to find out what that is. Like 2.4 again is normally Wi-Fi. It could be a baby monitor, but it's normally Wi-Fi in someone's home. And so if there's something in your room like like a wireless printer, you just want to turn that off to rule it out. The graph mode, what that would do, it will just log the strongest frequency. There's nothing on the it'll tell you the frequency number, so it gives you an order number, the date, the time, the type of frequency, as in the signal, the frequency, and then the duration and the strength, so how strong it is. So obviously if someone walks past with a phone past your house, it's not going to be very strong. If there's a bug in the same room, it's going to be much stronger. So we'll come back to this later after we've done the test. We should see it'll have logged frequencies on there. So if we now go to we're going to do a demonstration now. So if I turn if I turn the sensitivity up again, it will also, whilst it's in this mode, it will produce a little graph at the top here. So, and what that would do, that will log for like 8 minutes straight of what's going on. It just gives you an idea of anything that's happening. It doesn't give you any extra information other than signal strength. So if you left it in the room, you can come back and you can see if there's anything happening in a short amount of time. Anything that longer than that, or anything else is actually logged in this this table, which we'll show you shortly. So I'm going to turn the sensitivity back down again. I'm going to go for 3. Right, what we can do is demonstration. In fact, let's turn this off for a second. So just press and hold. That's finished off. What we've got plugged in just over there, that little white triangle plug, is what's called a GSM plug. Now that device has actually got a SIM card inside it. So what you do, if you wanted to listen in, you'd ring the number up inside the device. Oh, I need to turn my flight mode off. Give it a few seconds to connect. Yeah, what we do is call the phone number inside the device. It will ring a few times and then it will answer. Hello? You're going to get feedback because you're in the same room, but basically you can ring and listen to what's going on. I'm going to turn my volume down. Now, obviously, normally the person ringing in to listen in wouldn't be in the same room like I am, so it's going to be confused with the device that signals are coming from my phone and from over there. So just to make things simple, I'm going to put my phone next to this, just so the device only picks up from one area rather than two. I'm going to turn this back on again. To start with, I'm going to be using the omnidirectional antenna. So let's pretend we don't know where the device is. Obviously we know it's over there, but what we do, stand in pretty much the centre of the room, or as close as I can get, considering there's a table in the way. And we want to try thinking about splitting the room into two. So we try this side of the room first. So take the sensitivity down by 1, so it's on sensitivity 2. So we're going to try this side of the room first and see if we pick up much. So it's pick up a little bit, but again, we are in a techno sense that we've got signals all around us. But what we should find is, as we get closer to this side of the room, it should start to get stronger. So you can see, so it's much stronger over here than it is over there. If you're in a nice quiet building, it'll be a massive difference. So straight away, we can just sort of roll out this side of the building. We now want to work on this side, so we have a look. It's strong over here, and much weaker on this side. So again, we're now quartering of the room. It's out echoing. It must be around here somewhere. So sorry, keep that towards you. So we're quite close, and it's getting quite strong. So what we're going to do is actually knock the sensitivity down to its lowest, and now trying to work out whereabouts it's coming from. It's lower over here, next to nothing over there. Like I say, it's only its weakest strength at the moment. We're getting closer. It's definitely coming from here. So let's try and work out, see if we can work out where it's coming from. So that's definitely strong there, and weaker there. So we can see the signals are coming from here. Try up high, it's getting weaker again. Down, stronger, and so by rolling everything else out, we know that the signals are coming from here somewhere. So obviously, if we didn't know, it could be in the plug. It could be behind the sockets, so it'd be a case of taking these apart, because it's difficult to roll out exactly where it is, so we know it's in this area. So it'd be a case of looking behind the sockets or inside the plug, and obviously we know it's inside the plug in this circumstance. If I was to end that now, it should drop off shortly. And still picking up a bit. Yeah, still picking up something which is much quieter than it was before. It took a few seconds for the call to end. I'm going to ring it again. As you see, it'll start getting crazy again. This time I'm going to use, make sure it answers first. Okay. This time I'm going to use the directional antenna. So, like I said, this one's much more useful, but it can pick up less frequencies, so it's always best using both of them. So this is on the lowest setting. This is now active over there. So if we come a bit closer to you. Right, so if we try and work out, just by standing on the spot, see if we can work out roughly where the signal's coming from. So if we try over in that corner, so it's less, nothing. So without even moving the device, as in not moving it closer, we should be able to work out the signals coming from over there. This one is a lot more sensitive, so you already can work out it's from over there. Let's get a bit closer. So you see it's almost maxing out at this point, even from here. But if we now turn it that way, next to nothing, or nothing. Okay, it just gets a bit harder when you're getting closer, because it will still pick up. It still picks up in a range, it's anything from here. So we know it's in this area somewhere. And again, if we try up high, yeah, back down here again, you can see it's getting stronger, and all the way down to the floor, so you're not going to see this, but it's a bit lower. So we can tell it again, we can tell it's around here as well. So that's how you use it in a live environment. I'm going to switch it off. Okay, let's just go back over. Now, obviously it's picked up some signals now. So if you look, go back to the graph mode, you'll see, again, we got entry numbers, times, dates, the type of frequency, how long it was for, and the strength. And obviously 20 is the highest, which will be the point when I'm stood next to the device. So you could leave it in the room, let it scan, and again it'll build a graph up here for that holds 8 minutes worth. And this log here can hold anything up to 1,000 entries. So you can just leave it overnight and see if anything's happened. Especially if you live in a place where there shouldn't be any signals. Obviously in this, again in the techno sensor here, it really wouldn't be that useful because we expect there to be frequencies all the time. It does also, like I say, include a set of headphones. Now this doesn't actually stop the sound coming from the device. If I plug that in here, and you'll see the sound still comes through here. Because the idea is it actually demodulizes the sound, so I can actually hear something different in here, which is the raw sound coming from the frequency, coming from the device. Now these days, it really isn't much use because most frequencies are encrypted, so the sound won't mean anything. But if you have an old-fashioned sort of baby monitor producing a sound, then you would actually be able to hear the sound that was coming from the room itself. So as long as it's not encrypted, you actually be able to hear the raw sound coming from the device. That's what these are actually used for. Again, these days not really much use, but it is an option on the device. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you need to know using the device. You can either use it as a live in a live situation where you're actually trying to find a device there and then whilst it's producing a signal, or you can use it to just log anything that's going on overnight, for example. And the best use for this is you might have a device, for example, that just records all day long, but only uploads once, let's say, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, if that goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning, you now know you need to be there to actually search for the device at that time. But apart from that, that pretty much covers everything that the device does.